Oh,
it says live.
All right, it says live. So this always takes me like forever to find my own channel to go to the actual video that, here we go.
Well, and with that thing that they're doing now where, oh, look, there we are, where it doesn't necessarily give you the notification or show up in your subscription thing.
Yeah, I
Unless
can never figure that out either.
What the heck's happening here? There we go. Hello, guys.
Yeah, we got some people coming in. My wrench, Lisa from Canada, says hello to both of us. Oh, you can see the chat too, right?
Yep, I just pulled it up.
So yeah, you talk whenever you want. This isn't a I talk, you talk. This is a we just shoot the shit, and feel free to interrupt.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, see, they're climbing in already. This introduction will be super quick. It's already 40. Couple seconds. 40 goes by. All right, folks. Well, we are here on a beautiful Monday night in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania with Rachel O'Leary, the OG Fish Pimp, self-proclaimed, I assume, or did somebody give you that name? That'd be a great question.
It's on my knuckles. I'll show you right now. I determined that this would be my name when I made this very, very solid decision as an adult to get it tattooed across my knuckles.
Yeah, and now it's there for life.
Yep.
Now, when I see that, a lot of people I see out there in YouTube have a Fish Pimp, you know, they talk about it, but you sell fish.
I do.
You are a fish pimp, literally.
That's true, and that's where it came from. I actually just thought it was really funny.
So there's 60 watching already. So let's start off with introducing Rachel. Rachel O'Leary. She's been in the fish keeping hobby what seems like forever, as far as I can see. But we will have some questions for her on that. But why don't you take a couple seconds and introduce yourself to everybody watching? I'm sure they already know you anyway, but go for it.
Hey guys, I'm Rachel O'Leary. I don't even know my own name. I'm Rachel O'Leary. I live in York, Pennsylvania. I started my business about 15 years ago when I started my family. And it quickly went from me keeping and breeding fish and invertebrates to a pretty busy online business. I contributed a lot on online forums back in the day, and have since become an author and a lecturer internationally and nationally. And just a couple years ago, started my YouTube channel to sort of further my efforts of reaching you guys.
Has it been a couple years already? I feel like it's been like real quick, 1 year, boom, done.
No, it's been 2. It's almost, well, it's just been just over 2, I think.
That is amazing in itself. One of my favorite questions to ask, and this is not going to apply to you because you've absolutely been killing it from the start, but you've been doing it for so long. It's sort of like without kissing ass, it's sort of like a well-deserved subscriber count. So what I usually ask people is, like, especially I asked Dustin in his Q&A, is, are you jealous of people that sort of start a YouTube channel and they grow so fast, like really quick? They just become really popular really quick, and whether or not that content is good, it's just nowadays people seem to gain subscribers so unbelievably quick. Now you, on the other hand, have done that exact thing. In 2 years, I think you're well over 70,000, and by the end of this year, I can see you almost at like 250,000 easy.
Oh, geez. Well, I know I should hit at least 100K by this fall. I'm hoping at the very least by the time my 3-year anniversary rolls around, I'll be hitting 100K. I mean, that's sort of like my pipe dream of this. And I don't know about jealousy. I don't know about any of that. But, you know, for me, it's been really astounding to have this entirely new to me community. You know, I've been so involved with the organized hobby and the academic side of the hobby and everything else. It's been It's been really, really awesome to sort of find this new home with all of these people that maybe used to be forum people, or it's the new forum people, and it's just been really exciting to sort of to share that with them and watch it grow. I mean, it shocked the crap out of me that I'm doing as well as I am. I really didn't expect it, and it's been pretty amazing.
I think you deserve how well you've done. I heard you the other day say that you don't watch too many other YouTube channels fish-wise. I also am. I don't watch too many channels, and it's not because I don't want to. It's because I'm a bit, I'm busy, 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 like with the kids and work and so on and so forth. So if you were to spend all your time watching other YouTube channels, you have no time to do anything else. There's just so many out there. But what you've done for yourself is just relayed all your knowledge, and from the very start, you always look nervous when you first started, especially on camera. But I think what people love is that you seem to be genuine. Now, I've never met you in person. I probably will one day, but just from your videos and how you do things, you seem to be very genuine. You're just giving what you know. You're not trying to do anything spectacular. And I think a lot of people really appreciate that, and that's why they watch you.
Well, I appreciate that because I am exceptionally camera shy. And really, the hardest thing for me with doing this whole YouTube thing is that I am so incredibly camera shy. It's ridiculous. And even to this day, I still have a really difficult time shooting around other people. It took me over a year to even not feel like an idiot doing my intros and stuff like that in the basement for my species spotlights and my Tuesday tips. I remember my husband used to walk into the basement and I would like clam up and have to stop and be completely unable to shoot my videos if anyone else was around. I mean, and the nice thing is since I work from home, I generally have the house to myself. But I've gotten a bit better in the past year about being able to shoot around other people and not feeling quite so silly about talking to myself. So you absolutely nailed it when you said I was ridiculously nervous in the beginning, because it's true. I was. And even now when I lecture to large groups at aquarium conventions, my hands shake for the first few minutes, my voice warbles. It's not really my comfort zone, but I really love fish and I really like sharing what I've learned. And this is what I do all day, every day, is just like sit and sort of stretch my brain. So it's been super, super fun for me to be able to share that with everyone through YouTube.
Well, I was going to say you've been public speaking for a while, and I would have thought that would have translated into something extremely easier, because I cannot stand being in front of people. I'm like, if I could just stay in my woods house and burn my wood stove and never talk to anybody ever, that's what I would do. I get not like extreme social anxiety where I need to take a pill or something, but I just don't like people in general, like out in public. Like I just like to do things myself. And so getting in front of the camera at home with no one but like my dog there or something was extremely comfortable to me, because I felt like I could reach people, but I didn't have to actually see them in person. So it's easier for me on camera. I would have thought it would have been a transition for you, would have been nice.
Well, here's the thing. When you're speaking to a live audience, especially at these fish events, it's in the dark. So the slides come up and I'm talking about fish and I'm pointing about fish and I'm talking about all the fish, and it has very little to do with me. I'm the delivery method. I'm no more than that. So that's way easier for me. And plus, when you're speaking live, you can sort of get a feel from the audience, what they're enjoying, what they're responding to. You get live questions, you have a dialogue, you develop a rhythm. For me, that's way easier than it has been to learn to shoot YouTube videos and try and develop a narrative with myself without having that. So it's been a learning curve. I'm getting better. I'm still working pretty hard at it. I still have a long way to go.
No,
But
I think that stage is over. I think you're doing great now. I think what you do and what a lot of people do on YouTube is great for the fish keeping community. If I can find that question, I thought it was a great question. Now I got all these sheets in front of me. Oh, goodness.
I'm glad to see in the comment section I'm not the only one that gets nervous. You know, I feel ridiculous every time. I literally have been speaking to hundreds of people for over a decade, and I still get nervous.
It's very nerve-wracking for me, like going out to, like, we went to the aquatic experience for my aquarium box, and Greg's like, you know, you're gonna have to speak to like hundreds of people. They're gonna want to take a picture. They're gonna want to shake your hand. Like, no, then they're not gonna do that. And for 3 days straight, I just shook hands and talked to people, and I got into the rhythm, but definitely not my comfort zone. With regards to YouTube, I want to know what you think, if YouTube is good for the awareness in keeping, like, in the fish keeping hobby, or do you think it damages the fish keeping hobby with all the like unfiltered bad knowledge that is out there?
You know, I think it's been really useful in a lot of ways. It seems like in today's day and age, the immediacy of information is what people really crave, and the ability to search through YouTube and find some easy and quick information is really awesome. What's hard is that you don't know who to trust. You don't know what information to believe, and I think it's especially important that folks remember that no matter who they're watching, that they don't take that as an end-all be-all source. There's, you know, a lot of different perspectives in this hobby. There's a lot of different things that work, and watching a YouTube video is never a replacement for independent you know, research or personal experience. So I would really encourage folks to not just watch a video and think they know, but to dig a little bit deeper, do some more Google searches, you know, read books or online articles, check out Google Scholar, attend local clubs, you know, whatever it is that you have time for, but don't just blindly trust any information that you can find that easily. Really sort of get a broad spectrum application of a lot of opinions before you make your own decisions.
Yeah, with anything in general, not just the fish keeping hobby, you don't want to watch one video and do that. You want to read, you want to research, you want to, you know, take all these things and then make an educated decision. And that's what goes along with fish keeping. Is I see a lot of people will watch one thing and then they go dive right into their tanks, and they end up screwing stuff up because they didn't also watch 15 other videos and read, and, you know, just don't just jump right into the very first thing that you see. And that's what I see a lot of. The only bad part of YouTube for fish keeping is people just watch one video and then they just dive right into exactly what that person said. So I think it's very important to have people like you and Joey and Dustin and all this knowledge that have been doing it forever to watch.
Yeah, I think part of what's important to pay attention to as well when watching YouTube videos is, you know, just because someone sets up a brand new setup with a particular stocking and shows you that and it looks really cool right off the bat, it doesn't mean it's going to work long term. So one of the things that I think is really important, and I know you do this on your channel and Joey definitely does as well, is that we all show sort of follow-ups. For me, my aquariums are about longevity and health, and, you know, the fish doing really well long term. So it's really important to me to show the progression, and if I make a mistake or if something's not working out, let people know. But not every channel does that. Sometimes they'll set things up and I can watch a video, or a video is brought to my attention, and I just have to do this and say, you know, I know that that stocking's not going to work out. I know that that's a big mistake. And then they don't ever follow up on it. They just move on to a new one, or they'll be like, oh, this tank rescape, but they never say why they had to change everything. And I think that's sort of an ethical responsibility to share when we make mistakes or when things aren't working out, or to do follow-ups on these aquariums.
Yes, I agree. I actually have a series called Fish Keeper Screw Ups, and I have about 15 to 17 videos, and I always share my ups and my downs. And for the most part, there's a lot more downs than ups, you know, when you think about it. The things that you can learn from, and you want people, you know, people can't learn from showing a beautiful tank and saying, hey, this thing is awesome, and yeah, look at my beautiful fish. But the only way they learn what to do is when you show them what you've done wrong and how they can fix it.
Right.
Or attempt to fix it. Thank you, Toast707, for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate that. I don't get many super chats in my videos, and I'm definitely not asking for them. I do
Then
like
you're
to
silly.
acknowledge when they come up.
Come on,
What's
super
that?
chats.
Well, yeah, you super
Everybody likes.
chatted me when I did Joey's. That was a great thing. I think I got like $100 in super chats that night.
Super chats are like the best thing ever because it's like a free tip on top of all the work that we do. So like I know for me personally with my live streams, when I get them, it's like, woohoo, I can go out for a coffee or like do something silly. I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, Cruz dropped me a $20 super chat on Saturday night, and I said, I promise that's going to go towards a fish tank because I can't buy a 30-pack with it because 30-pack costs $25. And then he immediately dropped another $5 super chat right after that. So I could at least get a 30-pack.
I had a bunch of people buy my Oscar crickets in my last one, and I'm actually gonna take the video or take the camera with me and go buy him the crickets that people bought for him and do a feeding video, I think.
See, perfect. They are unbelievable for a lot of things. How we doing? Oh, we got 86 people watching. Lots of people commenting. I did see this Honeybee said that she loves how honest you are in your videos. Cruz, oh, she's from the UK, it looks like, I think. Water Wizard wants to know when you will start shipping international.
Probably never.
Yeah, that's a super tough thing to do, especially live things.
I'm a business of one. The logistics of doing flights when you live in a really rural area is just not a super awesome one. And I mean, I could use slower methods of shipping, but then they get caught up in customs. So the really responsible way to ship fish internationally is airport to airport. And my closest airport is 40 minutes, but it's super small. Like there's only one ticket counter for every airline. So I have to drive to a major city to be able to ship airport to airport and get good flights. And that's over 2 hours away. So the expense involved with me doing that and everything just would,
alone.
Yeah, it would not be worth it for folks to order from me. Other than that, they would, get it from Rachel O'Leary, which, let's be real, there's lots of people with good fish.
Well, that actually that's a perfect segue into one of my questions. With myself and my business partner Greg being small business owners, I was really wanted to know, do you think that with the mass closings of local fish stores, and I don't know in your area, but I just had 3 close over the last couple months, where I used to be able to go to 4 or 5 and chat with the employees and hang out for a little while, and they'd order fish for me and keep them in quarantine. Now my closest local fish store is probably about an hour away, and I have no time to drive that far. And with yourself owning a small business and shipping fish, do you think we're contributing to the decline of the local fish store, or do you think it's just the times?
I think it's a multifaceted issue. I think people always inherently look for the cheapest price. I feel like stores are dealing in a lot of ways with an antiquated model. I feel like a lot of the niche stores, the ones that really focus on something that is extremely unique, are still doing pretty well, but your general stores have really pretty much faded out. I think it's just a tough market, and I absolutely think online retailers are contributing to the decline of retail establishments, but that's because we're filling a market that needs to be filled. It's kind of a catch-22.
That needs to, people need things, right?
Like I started my business because my local store, Tony's Tropical Fish, closed down when my kids were maybe 3 and 4 years old. And I had Petco's and PetSmarts, and I live not too far from that fish place. but I lost that sort of corner store kind of feeling that I had. And not only that, but I simply, even within a 3-hour radius, couldn't drive anywhere to buy teeny tiny fish or invertebrates. Of course, this was 2003, 2004. So the reason my business came about is because it was the only way for me to get my stuff. There weren't even online businesses really then. So, you know, it is what it is. I feel like there's a lot of companies that come up online and fail within 2 years, and there's not very many that really stay in business for long, and that's also a shame. So this business is a very tough one. It's not a particularly lucrative one. When you're dealing with living things being shipped in water from one climate to another, there's a lot of room for issues, errors, sickness, death. You know, there's a lot of financial output for little financial gain. So it's not an easy business. And to maintain that in a storefront, and especially, I think the biggest issue is dry goods and filtration and things like that, because that's where they would make a little bit more money than the fish. Now, you know, with Amazon and some of the, I won't name any names, but with some of the bigger online retailers, they can actually purchase in bulk and sell for less than the wholesale pricing from the distributors. And that, I think, is the biggest problem.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And for me, it's especially now, like, you know, I'm in the woods, and Amazon has been great because I would forego the cheaper price to just get the instant gratification. Like, I want it now, and I don't want to drive to a store, and I don't want to take my kids out and deal with this and do that. So just being able to click a button is extremely convenient. But being a fish keeper, I love to interact with the people at the fish store, and I like to look at my fish before, you know, I'm the whole experience for me, since I'm from the generation where you went to stores and bought things. You know, you're just the same age as me, pretty much. We didn't have online stores. It was, you went to places and you got to look at them. So personally, with my company, I do feel a little like teardrops the eye, like I'm taken away from these places. But then again, doing what you're passionate about and trying to make a living out of it is really one of my biggest goals.
Yeah, same here. And I've always focused on stuff that I've never been able to find in local stores. You know, I try not to stock the stuff that I know that people are going to be able to find easily. I mean, number one, it doesn't make any sense because it doesn't sell. And number two, like, it's like shooting myself in the foot or shitting where I eat. Like, you know, it doesn't make any sense. I've always tried to focus on just the stuff that really makes my inner geek sing, and that I can offer some unique information about, and that I can get great pictures of, or, you know, just something unique.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to find anything unique at any fish store now. It's just your basic regular stuff. Your Levi's jeans and your white t-shirts. There's not a lot of stuff that you sell, or, you know, it's very tough to go find places or businesses like you that people can get what they want, because fish stores now are just they're buying guppies and platies and common plecos, and, you know, you're not finding the stuff that you want to put in your tank, that you want to make thrive and watch grow and love. So what you're doing is awesome, and I know a lot of people out there truly appreciate it.
I can also tell you part of the reason that is because a lot of the major wholesalers have started cutting off businesses like mine. They won't allow us to order unless we order all of the common species as well as the interesting ones. And for like my business model, I only have 100 aquariums. I can't
Only
buy.
100? That's
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Well, inside, I can only buy. You know, I don't want to buy 6 platies, 6 guppies, 3 goldfish, you know, 4 mollies, an Oscar, you know, 5 angels or whatever. I just want to buy the stuff that suits me. So that means, you know, I get cut off from those wholesalers, which doesn't sound like a big deal until you realize in order for me to import from overseas, I have to buy 600 of each species. And the people that are supplying the wholesale get filled before I do. So there's this whole other like double-edged sword of pain in this industry of me trying to get the things I want in order to quarantine, to have to offer to my retail, my end customers. It's tough business.
Yeah, what you're doing is truly, it's a grind, and I respect you for that. And a lot of us who know your site truly appreciate what you do, because I do my business out of my basement, and it's a lot of work, and I don't even have live stuff, so I can't even imagine what you go through. And so hats off to you.
Thanks, man.
There's a lot of comments of all these people that love Rachel and what she does. Someone said it's 2:22 in the UK, and I stayed up for this. I love you guys.
I
What
saw
else?
Jose. I know him. I know Rico.
Enrico's in the house?
Yep. I saw Honeybee saying a lot of stuff about monsters.
There's
That's
Rico.
pretty cool.
What's up, Rico? I have so many questions for you. I just want to keep seeing what's relevant. We've done that one. We've done that one. Oh yeah, here's a great one. So, you just said how old your business is. What was your 9 to 5 before you said I'm gonna make fish business my full-time job?
I was well, the job I was actually working when I stopped working was I was a veterinary technician at a 24-hour animal hospital where I worked with both a cat and dog vet as well as the exotic specialist. But my actual education is in art therapy and psychology and fine arts. So I've had several pretty decent jobs over the years. But when we started our family, which was pretty young, early 20s, I for me to work cost more than daycare. So we decided I would just stay home and raise the family. And that's when I decided I needed something to make my brain grow. And that's when I started keeping fish as an adult again. And just didn't look back.
Yeah, and have you ever thought, it's just time for me to just take care of fish for my own personal enjoyment and get out of this labor of love and go back to art therapy or anything like that?
Every day, honestly. I spend between 6 and 10 hours a day maintaining aquariums or answering emails or, just the labor involved. And, one of the things that I'm working on recently in my fish room is that I'm in the process of converting. I have the large wall in my fish room, which is 16 feet long and 3-tiered high. I want that entire wall to be personal display aquariums. Previously, it's been quarantine system. So the goal I'm getting ready to have a knee replacement. The goal is to break down a lot of tanks, move most of the fish out to my greenhouse and my yard for the summer. And when I come back after my surgery, that entire wall is going to be all displays, and I'm going to have guest aquascapers come in and set up tanks that I can stock. And then I'll have the business portion be a bit smaller or more contained or more streamlined, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm going to be switching things up down there because I really, really never want to lose my passion for this hobby. And I'm nowhere close to that now. But I could see it happening in 10 years. I could see, I don't know where the last 10 years went. I could see 10 more years flying by and me just like selling fish to sell fish. And I just want to keep my passion intact.
Yep. It's tough. And so I know a knee replacement's like 3 months recovery, right? Before you can even like lift anything.
I am getting my knee replacement May 1st. I should be on a walker for a month, and then I'll be in Ontario June 9th to lecture. So I'm hoping it takes about a month.
And this is a full knee replacement. Like your knee is coming out and a fake knee is going in.
Yeah.
Is there something in the water where you guys live that you guys need part replacements?
No, I was an athlete. I totally my own fault. I had some botched surgeries. I didn't listen to doctors, and you know, it is what it is.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully you will be a bionic woman after that and have a knee of a 10-year-old ready to go.
I'd just be happy to have the knee of a 40-year-old, to be honest.
One of the questions that I've had in the past that everybody asks is, especially new channels coming on, that just really is a grind to make regular videos. And I know a lot of people like to know, especially new channels, what keeps you motivated to stay relevant, because you have to keep making videos. Once you're popular on YouTube, there's no turning back. Like, your fans crave it. You need to put out regular content, and what keeps you motivated or tries to give you new ideas to get those videos out, on a weekly basis?
I mean, this is what I do. This is all I do. This is all I've done for 15 years. For me, like I have no shortage of things that I want to film, but what's important is making sure it's stuff that people would want to watch. So I try and not get too sciencey too much, even though that's my favorite videos, my least well performing ones. Species spotlights are the next poorest performing, despite them being what I think is the most relevant part of my channel. So I try and mix it up between stuff that is fun for people to watch and fun for me to shoot, or things that I've learned. And I keep like a running notebook of just like thoughts that enter my mind. You know, when I'm working in the fish room and I'm doing something, I'll be like, oh, you know what? This is something I learned from so-and-so's fish room, 8 years ago, and I've just incorporated it in, but it might be useful to someone else. I try and just keep a running list of things that I think are like relevant or cool or might be interesting. Or even if I'm watching non-fish YouTube and I see some sort of concept or something that's working, I'll be like, how can I apply this to fish keeping? How can I make this, more fun for my viewers? I don't know. I've just sort of tried to keep trying new things and stick with that, and keeping my overwhelming theme of, just I love fish. For me, it's that simple.
Are you ever in your basement and you're doing stuff and you're like, oh man, I should probably film this, but I just kind of want to get it done, but I gotta get some, film ready and get some videos ready to upload?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of times that I would rather not film, and every once in a while I say, screw it, I'm not gonna. I certainly don't unpack every box of fish I get in on camera. But if I know I'm getting in something that's really unusual or really exciting, then I will. Personally, unboxings to me aren't very interesting. However, they do really well on YouTube. So some of it is also paying attention to what people like to watch and catering to that. But I'm not very good at that part, or my channel would probably be way bigger than it is.
Well, I think you're good at that part, because you're clearly, I mean, you skyrocketed as soon as you came on YouTube. It was really just like a lot of people gravitated towards your channel, and this will segue into one of my favorite questions to ask any YouTuber that has, let's say, over 5,000 subscribers. And I absolutely love this question. Most people hate it. Joey loved it, but of course he had a great answer because he's got all the answers to everything YouTube. So you have, what do you have? Over 70,000 subscribers. You have tons of views on your videos. You put out a video and I think you'll average like 4,000 views within a couple days. So if YouTube AdSense ceased to exist as of tomorrow, do you think that you would continue to spend the time to get what out to people that need the knowledge, knowing that you're not going to get a single penny for any of these videos?
Oh, absolutely. For me, that was never really the goal. I mean, it's certainly nice. You know, and the main reason I think that my video or my channel skyrocketed as well as it did is because of the support of Joey. I mean, he really saw something in me that I didn't see, and really has facilitated and encouraged me along the way. But I've sort of, you know, the way that he got me, the way that he convinced me to do this was by telling me that, you know, like, it's all well and good that I was writing for international magazines. It's all well and good that I wrote a book. It's all well and good that I was lecturing to all these aquarium societies. But how many people was I actually reaching? And, you know, at each aquarium club, anywhere from 50 to 300 people, you know, with the magazines, you know, maybe
50
a
to
few.
53 people.
Yeah, well, I wasn't gonna name any numbers, but what are they sending out in physical print magazines or even digital subscriptions? And the way that he got me, and what's so addicting to me, is like, you know, I'll reach 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 70,000 people a day, you know, like hundreds of thousands of people a month. And how cool is that? So for me, like, the monetary return is certainly nice. I mean, I'm not making much because I'm still a relatively small channel, but that's not really the point for me. The point for me is, you know, I'm building a database of information that when my customers reach out to me and say, hey, how do you acclimate fish? I can send them a link to my video. Or, hey, you know, what fish should I stock in this tank? I can say, well, have you looked at my species spotlights? Check out the tiny schoolers, check out the algae eaters, check out the dwarf invertebrate section, whatever. For me, it's just a really cool way to build a library of information. And I really enjoy it. And the comment section is super fun for me. Like, I read every single comment that comes in, even the shitty ones. So thanks, guys.
Yep.
You know, I read every single one, and I try and respond to as many as I can. And for me, it's an entirely new community. So even if AdSense went away, I would still keep doing it because I really enjoy that sense of community that's been built around what I think is really cool.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I didn't even know you could monetize videos till I had like maybe 250 videos up already. It is a nice little thing to come in the mail. You know, you can pay some bills with it. But I started doing videos because I've kept tanks for over 30 years, and my wife works nights and the kids would go to bed, and I would literally have nothing to do besides take care of my tanks. I can't leave the house. You know, it's not like I can go out. And I was like, let's get this on film and see what people think and see if they can get some information out, and hopefully I can help some people. And it really started off me shooting videos for me because I had absolutely jack shit to do, and I was doing it anyway, so I might as well put it on camera and see if anybody watches. And I never even thought I would get to like 25 subscribers. I was like, Mom, hey, so you know what YouTube is? Subscribe to me. She's like, I don't even have a cell phone. What are you talking about?
Oh,
And
that's so funny.
you know, a year goes by and I get like, you know, a couple thousand. I'm like, hey, yeah, that's okay. And then just started catching on, and I wanted to do more fun things with fish. Uh, I started a ball busting series where people actually volunteer for me to make fun of them, and that was super funny. Like, it was kind of a satire Saturday Night Live fish keeping. Whenever I would have a few beers and people would volunteer for me to bust their balls, I said, okay, let's do that. But that being said, if AdSense would be off tomorrow, I would continue to do this because this is one of my hobbies, and it's fun for me to interact with the people and the comments and not actually have to meet them in person. Really.
Well, I mean, I have to tell you, like, I work from home alone in my basement. Other than in-person customers, like, there can be entire stretches of days where I don't encounter another adult. You know, so for me, this community has been really important, you know, for sanity's sake, because it's a way to interact with other humans.
It is, and I know it could be impossible once you get to so many thousands of subscribers. Excuse me, but I read every comment, and I also reply to every comment. Every single one of my work breaks or my lunch breaks where I can access my phone, as I spend the entire time with a window open watching live streams and answering every comment to the best that I possibly can. And I think that it's very important because you're making a video, and if you're going to make the video for people to watch, you need to answer their questions. Otherwise, why are you making the video? And I understand you can't get to every single person's, like, once you get really, really big, but I think making an effort to answer people's questions is extremely important in my opinion.
I agree 100%. And I haven't been doing as good of a job the past week because I was traveling, but generally I try and answer as many as I can as well.
Yeah, it's really one of my most important things is if I'm putting out a video, then it's my responsibility to answer the people's questions that they have on that video. Otherwise, that's just me. I'm glad you agree. Speaking of the community, this is another, I think you answered this in one of your live streams that I was happened to catch, but another question I love to ask is how many, and I'll put in quotes, true friends have you made throughout your 2 years on YouTube that you would consider a true friend, someone that you would text if you had a question or wanted to just shoot the shit, or could definitely go hang out with and go out to dinner, and just like you've been friends with them since high school?
Exactly one.
Exactly one.
Joey.
Joey. How did you meet Joey? Was it through YouTube?
No, well, he hit me up because he was going to a convention that I was going to be at, and he wanted to ask me some questions about a fundraising effort that was going on. And I actually dodged him most of the weekend because I'm camera shy. I just wasn't comfortable being on camera, but we ended up hanging out towards the end of the weekend in the hospitality suite and talking, and he started to sell me on YouTube. But I wasn't at all sold. And then he followed up, is basically what it came down to. Is he was the squeaky wheel, and I got to know him, and, I'd met his wife, and then, he just stuck with it, and he really believed in me, for no personal gain. Because what was he going to get out of me starting YouTube? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing other than having someone he thought should be on YouTube. And, it's just stayed that, like, if he's speaking anywhere that is commutable within the States, I'll go and see him. He comes to my club's event each year, and we've just become really good friends. And he's, he holds me to a high expectation and likes to call me out on my laziness, or, if I'm not doing things well. And I feel like he has my best interests at heart, even if sometimes it's tough love. But he can also listen to me when I'm feeling a bit low about the comment section or whatever. So, he's been a really good friend to me.
He's Joey. From what I've never met him in person, but we've talked via message for a couple of years, and he's sort of my kind of guy. Like, he tells it like it is, and he basically doesn't give a shit about what anybody thinks. He's going to do him, and it is what it is. And a lot of people would say he can afford to do that because he has so many subscribers. But when I talk to him, I've made it pretty clear to him that I don't care about his subscriber count. That doesn't mean anything in life. And when I talk to him, I expect him to talk to me like I'm just a regular guy and not like we're talking about YouTube. And I think we have a pretty good relationship because I don't believe that your YouTube status has anything to do with who you are, be off the camera, so to speak.
Well,
just you have to be a person.
It's interesting because I think it's the more I'm doing this and the bigger my channel gets, the more I see that people want from me. And so I can, it's not as much fun as when I was smaller. And I've just been really grateful to have that friendship. And it's been nice for me, but sometimes I wish I could give more back to him.
Yeah, I think Joey's a good guy. I think he means well. I think he's done well. I mean, he's a good guy in my book. I've met hundreds and hundreds of people on YouTube, and I can say I have started a business because of it. But there's only really maybe 3 or 4 people that I would am continually talk to on a regular basis because of YouTube. Not just because of meeting somebody at a show or this or that, but like as just like a YouTube acquaintance is almost like a modern day pen pal that I've established with a few people over the years, where you speak to them as if you were writing them a letter every week, and then you finally meet them and you actually do get along great in person. It's really satisfying, and especially for me, because I like to just keep to myself, do my own thing. Definitely helps me get out of my shell, and I've made a couple of friends through YouTube, and I'm extremely grateful for that. Just at the very least, if YouTube were to end, I have like a couple extra true like brothers and friends that I'm very grateful that I've met.
Now, I have tons and tons of people that I've known from the organized hobby that I'm really close with, but that's different. I mean, you asked about YouTube. The bulk of the people that are most important to me in my life are fish people that I've met through the organized hobby in some capacity, and those are the people that I've sort of taken on as my family.
Yeah,
But
I wasn't talking about outside. I'm just specifically the question, just like you said, is that
yeah.
anyone that is YouTube involved, have you made a true friend? And it's amazing that can happen, and I have made a couple friends through it. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No matter where they come from, true friends are hard to find anyway. So right. I just count myself thankful that I've made the ones that I have.
I know, right? And they're few and far between, for sure. So why don't we? Thanks, CJ. Seriously, CJ, $2. I'm gonna send you a Dunkin' Donuts gift card for that.
Greg just asked what do I see happening to fish clubs in general in the future, dying, growing, or changing. And I think a lot of that really depends on how much they embrace social media, how much they utilize social media, and how much they try and keep their finger on the pulse of the hobby. I see lots and lots of clubs growing by leaps and bounds and just as many dying out. So a lot has to do with, how they choose to embrace the consumption of information and make changes within the sort of schema of their clubs.
Greg is the man. He is one of the people that I've met through YouTube, and is genuinely happened, ironically, to live 20 minutes away from me. And
well, that was lucky.
Yeah. Is one of the smartest, nicest people I've ever met. He always has a good attitude. It doesn't matter what friggin' life brings him. He makes lemonade out of it. And I've never seen someone so grateful just to be alive and do things on a daily basis. Like, he's just truly, Greg Jones is an amazing guy. And I am definitely happy to have him as one of my friends. And I won't say business partner, even though he is, because he is a true friend of mine. I appreciate Greg so much.
Are you guys coming to Aquatic Experience this year?
Yes, we do have a booth again this year.
Let's get a drink.
Oh, yeah. If you're there, we will definitely be getting a drink.
I'll be there.
I had a blast last year, and this year we don't have to drive 20 hours there. We can only have to drive 3 hours because it's right down the street from us.
It's equidistance between us.
It's 3 hours up for you, 3 hours down for us. Perfect. Throw in a movie, listen to 3 or 4 songs. We're there. Instead of 20 hours in his car. My
Yeah.
God. So I'm going to ask you one more question, and then we will let the fans ask you some questions if you would be so kind as to read the chat for a bit.
Absolutely.
But I do love this last question I like to add. It segues right into people's questions is, so from the outside looking in, it would seem like that you do fish all the time, day in and day out. It's part of your job. But what other things do you like to do that have nothing to do with fish?
I like to read. I like to garden. I have a carnivorous plant obsession. We like to work on cars. We like to go hunting waterfalls and finding caves and go hiking. I'm a bit more of a naturalist than anything else. Like I really enjoy spending time in nature and finding inspiration. I'm a stone carver. I like to draw, all sorts of things.
Have you ever made like, well, as soon as I hear stone carver, I think of like Shawshank Redemption, him making the chess pieces. That's not soap carving, right? That's stone carving of soft rocks.
Yeah, I mean, I did more fine art style, sort of, bougie art crap. I haven't done it for a while now, but I miss it.
I used to paint in my college days, and I absolutely acrylic. I love that, and it's been so long since I have done that, but I would definitely like to get back into that when my kids are older and they're not destroying everything and everywhere.
Well, I'm just getting there. My kids are all teenagers or older now, so maybe I'll pick that back up again.
I hear small. Oh, my camera shut off. Small kids, small problems. Big kids, big problems.
Very true. Very true. It appears as though your camera's freaking out. Is chat still connected? I saw my buddy Justin ask how we can be more conscious as fish keepers. I think the best thing to do is just make sure we're maintaining our aquariums as well as possible. I'm not sure if we are still live or not because Mike is gone. Can you guys let me know if you still hear me okay, you still hear me in the chat? Excellent. So my biggest thing with, oh, I hear his voice again. My biggest thing is responsibility as a hobbyist, making sure that we're making smart decisions for our aquariums and maintaining them as well as possible. I don't have a favorite fish store. Someone was asking that.
Can you hear me, Rachel?
I can hear you.
Okay, Mike, I don't know what happened to my camera. It just kicked off, but I will let you, anybody in the chat, feel free to please ask Rachel some questions. We have her for another couple minutes, and then we're going to let her go kick her feet up and relax.
Someone just sent you a super chat and asked what reason would I leave the hobby? I would only leave the hobby if the hobby stopped inspiring me. For me, the best part about this hobby is that every day I feel like I'm learning new things or applying new knowledge or have something that sort of makes me want to research more or learn more. And for me, I've always had a really curious mind. So it's really, really important for me that I'm getting fulfillment out of what I'm investing all this time in. And as long as I feel fulfillment, then I'll never leave the hobby. If there comes a time where I realize it's like turned into money over fulfillment, then I would reevaluate my life basically. Someone asked if I would ever do saltwater. I mean, I don't do any now. I mean, the thing that I worry about most with saltwater is that I don't do things a little bit. I got into freshwater fish and I was supposed to only have a couple of aquariums, and you guys have seen my basement. And then I got into breeding fish outside, and you guys have seen my lawn and my greenhouse. And then I got into carnivorous plants, and now I have a greenhouse full of them. I have a feeling if I got into saltwater, it wouldn't be in a little way. So
that was one of my
my
questions
biggest concern.
I had saved for the end too. Would you ever get into saltwater?
I mean, I think about it all the time. And like, I mean, I'm not blind. I see these beautiful invertebrates. I find corals to be fascinating. I'm not as honestly interested in the saltwater fish, but the corals and the shrimp and all that stuff are really freaking fascinating to me. And not only that, but I think that there's a big gaping hole in the aquascaping section of saltwater aquariums where, oh, you're back, where we could go from, where the actual artistry of saltwater tanks could really be elevated in a really fascinating way. And I'm hoping that the hobby takes sort of a turn in that direction, like the Planted side has in the US.
So I absolutely love the fact that you said this. I got into a huge conversation with Cruz on a live stream weeks ago. I have 2 saltwater tanks, and my goal going into it was to aquascape the tank like a planted tank. The difficulty is you have to know, just like your plants, your foreground, your midground, your carpeting, your
adult size.
what are they going to go when they're a year old? How big are they going to look? Can you propagate them and transfer them here, there, and everything there is to a planted tank. I wanted to bring to the saltwater tank, and I became so passionate about figuring out what flow and light corals need and where they need to be placed, and then purchasing my corals to go in particular places, as opposed to what seems to be, as you can tell, I'm all fired up about this because I love this. What seems to be where people buy corals and they just put them wherever, and they just buy all these corals and they put them in their tank, and then wherever they end up because of the flow and the light is where they end up. But I really like to aquascape the reef tank, and it's become a whole new passion for me. And over the past almost 4 years since I've been keeping salt water, it truly is amazing.
Well, and the thing is like, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to play with perspective and depth and like all these really cool things that we're seeing so much in the aquascaping or planted side of the hobby. I would think that it's totally doable in the reef side too. I mean, look at some of the beautiful nanos out there and some of the really big reef ones. Why not be able to combine the sizes from the two and really sort of push the boundaries of perspective and design in order to make something that's like so much more than just beautiful sea creatures, something that's more of a design element.
It truly is amazing, and watching these different types of corals, just like plants, they are alive, but people don't think of plants so much on a daily basis, walking by them, as like, yes, they still need light and nutrients to live. They kind of take it for granted that they're there, whereas corals, you can see them act on a daily basis with what's going on with your water. Are they opening? Are they flourishing? Just truly, truly amazing, and I think you would love it. I've fallen in love with it completely. I really think you would have a blast with it.
I know. I'm afraid I'd have too much fun.
Well, it's everybody says that once you get into saltwater, it's so expensive and this and that, but and high tech. I've managed to keep, in what my opinion is, I'll pat myself on the back real quick. Beautiful saltwater mixed reef tanks, very low tech style. By that I mean filter and light, and good husbandry. And my tanks are thriving, and they're doing great. And I'm trying to keep it very simplistic. The KISS method, like you say. Yeah, because I need to be able to enjoy my tanks while I enjoy my life with my kids and my other things I like to do.
Absolutely. And again, it's not that I don't think I wouldn't enjoy the saltwater side of the hobby. I just know me, and I know my level of investment. And, so I think what I'd like to do is get to a point in freshwater where I'm kind of searching for new things that really compel me to learn more. And when I start to the point where I'm looking for that, then I'll look to salt water to supplement. But I'm nowhere near that now, even after most of my life spent in freshwater. It's just truly is where my passion lies. And it doesn't mean that I do not appreciate saltwater, because I absolutely do. And I'll be at Reefapalooza, and I may be at another event in Ohio in June, or I don't even remember what month. There's all sorts of things that, you know, I like to go look at, but I just know me, and I don't do things a little bit. So I'm trying to keep myself under control here before I have 2 fish rooms and no house.
Well, you could always start with like a little nano, and then, you know,
Well, it's a slippery slope.
let your obsession take over from there. But it is extremely satisfying to see, and you would appreciate it a lot too, because all the fish that you keep, and how beautiful they are. Because most freshwater keepers will never see the fish that you even have in your fish room.
Right.
So the fact that you can get all these gorgeous saltwater fish, and especially with you loving nano species, like these tiny, tiny fish that are just, I feel like you would love it. But you're clearly keeping a check on yourself, so that's good to know that you have some sort of restraint.
Someone's gotta.
And we're getting ready to call it quits, and we're over 100 viewers now, which is awesome.
Well, I wish I would have had more time to spend in the comments section.
Yeah, let's do a few more minutes answering anybody's questions, and then this has been a great interview, and I've had a blast talking to you in front of all these people. And we'll call Dilly Dilly, Lisa. Everybody does Dilly Dilly, those commercials, because I drink Bud Light. So Dilly Dilly.
Oh, I didn't even know what that was. I don't have TV.
You don't have TV?
No.
Do you guys play games all night?
No. We read books and watch YouTube.
Well, you have a computer. That's the same as having a TV.
Yeah, it basically is.
You can watch Netflix and all that.
Yeah.
All that junk.
How many tanks did I tear down in the fish room? I'm down, probably close to 20 at this point. And I have a lot more to go, but we keep getting snow. I'd hoped this past weekend to break down another 20 more and move fish outside, but the weather is just not playing. So this weekend's Easter weekend, and we have friends coming in from out of town, but I'm hoping to spend most of the weekend setting up the greenhouse and moving out fish.
So the greenhouse is not for plants, it's for fish?
Yes.
Oh. I could have swore I watched your time-lapse video of the setup, and I must have missed actually why you were setting up a greenhouse. I just assumed where you lived, it was like you're going to start growing tons of vegetables or something.
No, I keep my my plants in there over the winter, and then from spring through late fall, it's for fish.
Awesome. I would love a greenhouse. My new house, I'm on over 2 acres, so I've got plenty of room for it, but I would not keep my fish in there. I would grow other things.
Well, you know, I keep saying I'm going to grow vegetables and stuff, and I haven't gotten there yet. This was it was a surprise gift for me. I wasn't planning to have a greenhouse, so we didn't have benches or anything. Now this next winter, I would like to start a lot of vegetables and things like that, in order to do that. But, you know, once you get past like Mother's Day, then nothing that you're growing in the ground really needs to stay in the greenhouse, which makes it perfect for moving all your fish into there. So
yeah. Well, I would have never thought to do that in a cold weather, to move the fish in there. It's a great idea. Just pond everything up if you can.
Absolutely.
A question before IFG had was, what is your favorite nano fish?
That's like asking my favorite kid. I have such a hard time with that question because it really depends. It depends on what tank size and what my goals are. You know, if I want to breed them or if I just want to look at them. You know, I think one of the ones that I find to be most versatile is something like the Chili Rasbora Boraris Brigitte, simply because they're beautiful, they're outgoing, and they're extremely tiny. But one of my all-time favorite fishes is, you know, the very basic white cloud mountain minnow, and that's
That was going to be
because
my favorite. I was going to say
they're
is the white cloud is just gorgeous.
they're absolutely gorgeous, and they're extinct in the wild, which, you know, is kind of cool that they're maintained exclusively through breeding efforts.
That I did not
And
know.
yeah, they're a care species. The albanubes, I believe, are completely gone from the wild, and the vast majority of the Tinichthyes species are maintained solely through breeding efforts. So to me, that adds an extra layer of geeky coolness.
I know you don't watch too many other YouTubers, but if you do get a chance to watch any YouTube, look up Shizdank Tanks.
That's a funny name.
And he has not put any YouTube videos up in a few years, but he is in
Shiz
Arizona. SHIZ Dank Tanks. He's in Arizona. He grows lots and lots and lots and lots of cactuses. That's what he posts on Facebook. But you would fall, just like you binge watched friggin' dad jokes or whatever for like 2 hours the
That
other
was
day.
so embarrassing. I don't even know how that happened.
You would binge watch his channel. He is right up your alley. He has beautiful, beautiful nano tanks with all the tiny little fish species that you could never find anywhere else besides in his tank or maybe in your fish room. Just watch a couple of his videos and you'll fall in love with his channel really quick. Very subtle. It's not like me, like stupid accent, just like mumbling into the camera. It's very chill. You'll hypnotize to it before bed, I bet.
Awesome. I'll check it out. Thanks for the suggestion.
So, does anybody else have any questions for Rachel? Because I bet you she would love to go relax. It's already 10 o'clock on a Monday night. So here's your chance, because I'm about to hit the stop broadcast button so she can go relax.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone that came out to support us for doing so, and thank you for having me as well.
I loved having you on. I'm so happy you came on, and I would also like to thank all the people that are watching. Over 100 we reached, where 96 are watching now, so that's literally 96 people in this world that are not watching cable TV.
What's my favorite beer? Well,
Oh,
I
there we
don't.
go.
I quit drinking beer last year. That's the secret to my weight loss. But my favorite daily beer back then was Yingling Lager. Now I drink bourbon.
Is that your favorite beer because it's local or because you like it that much?
Mainly because it was like the best local alternative for an affordable sustainability. You know.
So I have to tell you, I love beer, and I love a ton of different beers. The Yinling, for some reason, and this is, that gives me the worst gas.
Well, I like ambers, I like lagers, I like wheats. I'm not as much into the hoppy beers. You know, I can deal with a good porter, but I'm not as into the hoppy beers.
I do not like hoppy beers. I cannot stand IPAs. I know that's all the rave right now. I can't drink them. I don't like the way
I'm
they
with you.
taste. I don't know why. They're gross to me. They're just so hoppy, and I don't know. But
I'm with you. So right
Guinness,
now I drink some bourbon and I'm
oh,
happy.
that's badass. If I probably even had a sip of bourbon, I'd probably vomit all over my lap.
Oh.
But I suppose it's probably a good, like, an acquired taste. You gotta like start sipping it here or there, and then pretty soon you enjoy to appreciate the taste of bourbon.
I don't know. I love bourbon. I've done a lot of speaking engagements and done a lot of bourbon tours, and it's been kind of fun seeing how it's made and seeing what goes into it. And I've done a lot of tastings, and it just sort of made me fall in love with it.
Well then, at the Aquatic Experience this year, I will buy you a bourbon,
Excellent.
and we will get together and chill out. And so with that, I'd like to say thank you to Rachel. Rachel, stay on. Don't click the end button. I'll stop the broadcast and then I can say goodbye to you.
Okay.
I would like to say thank you to Rachel for coming on. I really appreciate her and all her knowledge, and I know everybody that's watching truly appreciates it. I've been getting tons of emails as soon as I posted the thumbnail that so many fans of yours that couldn't wait to have you on and have me mumble and ask you silly questions, but I know they like to hear the answers. So I'll
Don't
let you
sell
say
yourself
goodbye.
short.
Rach, you can say goodbye and then I'll stop the stream.
Great. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me.
All right, folks. I'm out. And so is Rachel.